museum back to life.
You know, people sit out on the front porch hoping people will come by.
Go forth and do good. It's insane. I have the most understanding wife in the world.
I treat everybody the same thing.
Oh, that's the other thing I love about Marietta. It's like a melting pot.
You are listening to Marietta Stories. Each week, veteran podcaster Bill Nowicki brings you the heartwarming, interesting, and fun stories from the people that make the community of Marietta, Georgia, a place to call home. Here's your host, Bill Nowicki.
So here we are at Cool Beans Coffee Shop. It's Saturday morning. It's pretty cold outside, but they're cranking up the Marietta Square, award-winning Marietta Square Farmers Market, and I'm doing a podcast episode with Jen Starks.
That's it.
And Christie Clark.
Hi.
And they're small business owners. I think, Jen, you live in Marietta.
I do.
And Christie, do you live in Marietta?
I do not. I live up in Ackworth.
Okay, let's forget you. No, I'm just kidding. So I want to know, will you guys, what you call a round table going on here every Saturday morning?
Every Saturday morning, unless something comes up where someone's sick or some type of emergency comes up. But pretty much, yeah, even over the holidays, unless it's Christmas Day, we're here.
How many folks do you sometimes have?
I'd probably say the most we've had are 8. But sometimes it's just me. Sometimes it's Christy and I. It just depends on the flow and what's happening in people's lives and when people feel like they need to come out. We try to be consistent.
Okay, yeah, consistency is very important when you're trying to do a small business, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it actually started because I would come here just to get away from the kids, to have some alone time and solitude. I would journal.
Adult time,
me, myself, and I. And then once we started talking, this stemmed out of an opportunity to bring people who are interested in send-out cards together. So I said, well, I'm already here, so if people want to just come, then let's just do it, because I had already worked that out with the husband to be with the kids. So it was just an easy extension. So I love coming. It's harder for other people because we get here early on a Saturday morning, so you know that the person who's coming is probably a little bit more dedicated because they're coming out on a Saturday morning.
but the parking's not as bad on Saturday morning. And it's post 2-1, so you have to pay to park nowadays in the parking deck.
Yeah, sometimes it is actually challenging because on Saturday mornings they have all their 5Ks and races, and on really big festival weekends it can be a challenge. So it has been an obstacle. We've learned a few tricks and trades of good parking spots to find when it starts to fill up. But we try to get here a little earlier than everybody else, and then with the parking, that's just, we're still working through the paid parking thing.
Great. All right, so let's start with you, Christy. Where did you grow up?
I'm actually born and raised in Marietta. I am a Georgia native through and through. Family is also.
You don't have a southern accent.
I went to Kennesaw State University and lost it with all my international friends.
Did you work on losing it?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I came from New Jersey, and I had to work at saying not coffee and dog and all that stuff. Orange. But I had to work it. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was that funny.
I'm sorry. It was just funny. I'm sorry.
Someone who's Georgian speak to Christy, and then all of a sudden she'll pull out the Southern. She adapts to whoever she's talking to.
Do you find that enables you to get closer to people by doing that? You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I do not even know it's happening. I did it with my husband's family first time I met them, and I just took over the way they spoke. They're from New York, and so they loved me immediately.
All right, so where did you grow up physically in Marietta?
I went to Spraberry High School, so I was in that area. My family's rooted in Marietta around the campgrounds, Marietta campgrounds. That's where we're part of, so.
Did you ever think that you would want to leave this area?
I have. I did for about a year, and then I came back.
Where'd you go?
Went to Wilmington, North Carolina. So I love the beach, and that was a good fit. My cousin was up there going to UC Wilmington. So.
But you came back. Is it because there's family here and you want to be connected with your family, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, this is where my family's at, my parents, and so I didn't want to leave again, and it's nice.
And you talked about family and having kids and stuff. Are you currently married?
Oh, I am. We've been married for 12 years now. Yeah, 12. Sorry, I have to count. 3 boys within it. So.
And Jen, you have how many boys?
I have 3 boys and a girl.
Okay, so you have the same amount of boys.
Yes. Yep.
What's it like having, now how old, are all your kids in school?
No, we homeschool. So that's our challenge also, which is the reason why we love coming out on Saturday mornings, because then we get away from them completely.
Do you have a network of parents that you do this homeschooling thing with locally?
Oh yeah, we have a homeschool group that we do with, and we set up different events. We always have holidays at my house. So.
Okay, so tell me about, let's talk a little bit about Jen first, then we'll talk about your entrepreneurial journey. So you grew up north.
I was born in Chicago. Then we moved to South Bend, Indiana, where I spent most of my childhood in the same exact house in very boring suburbs called Granger, Indiana, and went to a Catholic grade school, high school, and then went to school in Bloomington at Indiana University.
And that moving down south was when?
Well, I met my husband there at Indiana University. He was studying to be a professor. He's in sociology. And his first position as a professor was at Florida State University, and that was the first time we came down south. We lived there for 6 years and then went back up north at Notre Dame. He was a professor there for 3 years, and then moved here when Kennesaw State University was recruiting for his position.
What was it like when you came down here and thought about living down south in the deep south?
I have to be honest, I was not excited about this idea. I thought that I was going to have to own a gun and see Confederate flags and other random things. I was scared because
How does that make you feel, Christy?
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that she was that worried about Confederate flags and the way the South used to be. It is not that way anymore. Clearly, the Northerners have infiltrated.
Yeah. So what was the first positive impression of when you were down here? What would you say?
Christy, of course.
You guys met right after you moved down here?
Right after we moved here, we had started homeschooling, and we were out at the library, and I was trying to meet new friends, and I was out at the library at a time where if you have kids and you have to be homeschooling if they're of a certain age. So I immediately was like, wait, you guys are homeschoolers, right? So we instantly connected.
So did you get scared when she had that revelation? Sounds pretty scary, like she just came up to you and said, you guys homeschool?
Oh, no, we both did that. We both just it was like a beacon. We were both just a magnet, just came right together. And
So how long was your first conversation, would you say?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. Hours, and then it just kept going. I mean, it was the instant connection. It was kind of like the long-lost sister, so we've been connected ever since, especially since my 3 and her first 3 are around the same age. So we all connected.
I will tell you this, being older, is those friends that you meet and make when the kids are small, they tend to continue. When you get into that realm where you're shuttling them around, it's harder to connect to people unless you're sitting in a baseball game for 5 hours or whatever, and you get to. But it's just something I've noticed.
That's true, and we have an advantage because we homeschool, so we do a lot of things together that other people don't get to spend that type of time with their families, because we have the flexibility to be able to work together and raise our kids together, and we share meals together. We even, I think it was 3 months we had met. We had went on a vacation together up in Asheville at a cabin.
Really? What are your husbands doing this whole time? Were they kind of like, what the heck are those two doing now?
They still are. They just realize it's the Jen and Christie show, and they just follow along.
Sounds like a future podcast, perhaps.
Probably. Maybe we should do that.
Homeschooling by Jen and Christie.
That's right, Jen and Christie. Yeah, but it would be more than homeschooling. We have way too many adventures and too many things to talk about.
What was your latest adventure?
Oh, no. Sorry.
You were going to say something, Christy. I'm sorry. I can't.
No, well, I mean, the most fun was the one that she was talking about when we went on vacation together. It was our death trip.
Why is that?
We went it was January or February? February. And
This, like 2017 or no?
oh, no, this was when we first met, yeah. And we were both in our vans, different times, and the mountains up there froze over. We couldn't get to our cabin. We couldn't get together on the phone because we both lost cell service. We thought we were goners on the mountain. They kept sliding back, almost going down off the side. It was crazy.
Really? So there was a whole weather thing going on. But you guys stayed together after that, though. You made it work.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a weekend in Asheville. It ended up being the cabin weekend because we didn't leave. We had all of our supplies. We couldn't get down or up. We had to wait for the ice to actually melt. So we had to walk a distance to get even to the cabin that we had paid for.
That's definitely a southern thing where you could wait. People have told me when I moved to North Carolina, oh, just wait until it melts. It's like, what? I mean, up north, we don't put up with that stuff. Or folks from up north don't put up with that stuff.
Yeah, it's a different world down here with the whole ice and snow.
Were you here for Snowmageddon?
That was actually the weekend that Brian was interviewing, so it was quite the experience for him to show me pictures from his hotel room of why everyone's going crazy, but it makes sense with the hills and, just the unpreparedness.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you're doing your homeschooling, you got a lot going on, but tell us about the business stuff that you're doing. How did all that get started?
Well, it started because Christy was inspired to take it as a business with send out cards because another homeschool mom introduced us to it, and I watched her for a year.
So talk about the company. This is like a franchise thing?
It's a direct sales company, so you can do it from home. It has very minimal investment to start with, and it's a way for you to be able to grow a business without having to have a lot of overhead.
Okay, so how does it work, just logistically?
You mean
what do folks get out of your business?
Oh, well, the average person is able to send a card from an app on a phone that then we print stuff and mail for any occasion. So whether it's a Christmas card, a birthday card, a graduation, at any point in time, they basically have the address book in their phone, and they can send a card and gift to anybody around the world.
Well, that connects the app world and the online world to real physical stuff.
That's right. We call it tangible touch, that you can share appreciation.
And my wife is huge into cards. She grew up with that. You send a card out whenever somebody has a birthday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just not good at it, but she's really good, so I don't have to worry about it. But so how long have you been doing that?
I've been in it for 2.5 years. And like she said, it started with another one of our homeschooling friends that came in. I was needing something. I had all my kids, and I needed to create and grow again. So that's what came to me to do, and so I started doing it.
So you guys didn't know anything about marketing or online business necessarily. How did you pick up those skills? Through the sign up onto this card thing?
Well, I was, for 12 years, I had my own massage therapy business. And I had stopped it after my third child was born. It was just 100% of my time going to massage and my clients because they were family, and then trying to grow my own family was just not working anymore. So it happened right around when my son was about 2 is when I started the itch again to create again. So
how about you, Jen? When did you get first started in business, like your own small business?
It started when I was pregnant with my first child, and I realized that I, had a master's in social work, and the salary that I was going to be having and the amount of time I'd be spending away from my children didn't equal the trade-off. So when I had my first, I started developing a business from home, supporting cloth diapers and natural parenting, and I did classes in the community, and it was, again, like what Christy was saying, an outlet. It's a way for me to have my professional hat and feel like I'm contributing to the community and bringing in some income on the side. So it allowed me to have the autonomy and tap into creative side and be Jen Starks, not just mommy.
I remember we talked last week, and you talked a lot about community and trying to make a difference. How are you kind of projecting the next 5 years? How do you think that's going to work out? What do you think you're going to go into next?
It's interesting. I actually see in the next 5 years looking at a global community as well, because with our adventures in homeschooling and just some of the aspects of raising your kids and learning about different things in history and things around the world, I'd really like to be able to go there and experience it with them. So that's one of my whys. One of the things that drives me is the idea of being able to afford to go visit ancient Egypt or go down to Africa and see where, the animals that we studied, or, go into Rome and study our Catholic history and, be able to really dive in and not just have a vacation, but really experience and learn for a period of time.
So cool. How about you? Does that make sense to you too? Is that something you want to do, Christy?
Oh yeah, definitely the global travel with the children. That's something my oldest, when he was around 3, that's what he talked about, was going to Egypt. He wanted to see the pyramids.
If I was looking to buy or sell a house, I would always think about who was my real estate agent and what were their results. Well, Johnny Walker and Carrie Cox hire the best real estate agents out there. Here's Elizabeth Denny to talk about one of her recent clients.
A teacher and a veteran who were buying their first house. And they've actually made fun of me because they said that I talked them out of absolutely everything that they wanted to buy and insisted that they wait for the right thing. But I feel like when you work as hard as they do and you have jobs that are as important as they have, our job is to be a good steward of their money and their future.
So please, if you're buying or selling a home, check out Johnny Walker Realty at 262 Church Street, just down from the Marietta Square. Give them a call at 678-626-0403 or check them out online, johnnywalkerrealty.com.
And so it would be, it's another drive, especially when you are homeschooling and you get to be a part of their schooling and you know what they're learning, and then wanting to take that to the next level, because it's the tangible again. Once you are there physically with it, it's more ingrained in you.
Yeah, and starting out like in my 20s and 30s and 40s, there weren't that many opportunities. You kind of had to fit your life into a box, right? I had to work to feed the family, have insurance and all that, but now there's an infinite number of possibilities for you guys to grow your business, teach your kids, kind of make it all work. And it sounds pretty exciting.
Yes, it is. It really is exciting, and it's awesome when you can get your husbands on board too, and they can see the potential that's out there.
What do you mean, get your husbands? Are you saying they're a little bit hesitant?
Well, hesitant in the sense of the way that they work. They have their jobs that they are doing and everything, and so to be able to get them into the mindset that they can also take off and take those times to be with the family and go adventure around the U.S. and then around the world.
Yeah, you know what? You just reminded me. I met a lady at a podcast conference, and she and her husband took off a year. I think I don't know if they were going to come back or not, but they took off, and they were traveling all over the world, so they had gotten a war chest of money, and they were in Asia or whatever, and then she told me, we made the mistake of coming back for somebody's wedding. And it was 2008, and they're like, the economy's in the tank. You guys, you're going to be in big, big trouble. You got to come back and get back in the box, basically. So they did. And she goes, I regret doing that. That is a little bit scary, but it also has so many possibilities, right? And I'm sure it's a journey, right? You're going to end up thinking one thing and finding out reality, it's a lot different.
Well, I mean, we all know life is definitely a journey. You put out there exactly what you're looking for, and pretty much that doesn't happen. There's always a change. Something's always coming at you, something different, and you just kind of roll with it.
Because it seems like you guys spend a lot of time together and you get energy from doing the kind of things you do. So what are you working on right now that you're, really excited about?
Well, I have my hand in a couple of projects here in the community. So one thing that I'm really excited about is with my position with Leading Local, which is basically a small business advocacy program where we basically help the small business startup to help them get their name out there and become successful, and to look at it from a consulting angle. How can we help them and support them so that they can actually earn a living and not be undercapitalized? And so it's great because then I get to meet a whole bunch of struggling business owners, provide them support and education, and really help them increase their revenue.
But there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people posting and all this other stuff, and I'm sure there's some old school business that I want to deal with that. How do you kind of get folks to get on board with a new way of looking at, getting the word out and marketing and things like that?
It's a really good question.
Well, yeah, I'm getting deeper now, so I'll give you. You want to try that one, Christy? You're smiling over here. Let's see.
I'm just waiting for Jen to answer the question.
Did you hear the question? She's got it. She's got it. Okay, back to Jen.
I love to weave send-out cards when I'm talking to these business owners with Leading Local, because really everything comes down to relationships. It all comes down to who do you know, how do you make them feel, how do you stay in touch with them, and how do you add value to everybody around you, whether it's personal or professional. And so that's the angle on what I bring to the table for the business owner. I share some of the resources we have for them in terms of education and some of the things we can do for them through Leading Local. But really, if you want to grow your business, it starts with caring about other people and serving other people and excelling in what you do so that you're adding value to everybody that you meet. And so a lot of business owners just don't realize that. They're stuck in this scarcity, they're stuck in I just need to get the next job, but they need to stop and reflect and realize who are the people around me that I need to be spending time with and nurturing that relationship, because that's how you stand out and that's how you grow your business, especially if you want to increase your referrals.
Wow, that was fascinating. She went from nothing to just a flood of information. Does she do that a lot, Chris?
Yes, she does.
You seem amazed.
Jen, always. I'm always amazed. She's very headstrong. She's a go-getter, and she will tackle whatever comes in front of her.
Does she challenge you when you're sitting here at your round table meeting on Saturday morning?
That's with anything in life. She does. We go from anywhere from the homeschoolings to the business. She's very good at kind of working it out of you.
Okay, from a 1 to 10 intensity, what would you say Jen was? Intensity.
Can I say 20?
Oh my gosh, is she really?
Very.
Seems very sweet.
No, but when she has it in her head that she's going somewhere, she's there. She's already there now.
Oh really? Okay, how about Christy? You got a shot at her. 1 to 10, what would you say?
In terms of what?
Intensity.
I would say that Christy is not an intense person, but she's the person who will carry you and be supportive and be consistent. And when she says she's going to do something, she's always there and dependable and relying. So she helps make sure that I don't go too crazy, and she will call me on that.
Okay, well, that's great. That's nice.
The yin and yang, I guess.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, that's really cool. So let's look to wrap things up. How do people get a hold of you two folks?
Well, of course, you can find me here every Saturday morning at Cool Beans.
Yeah, talk about the roundtable thing.
We love to welcome anyone who wants to grow their
Somebody's looking at my stuff. He just left. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Cool Beans, what time? Saturday, 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock to about 10:30, 11-ish, depending on how many people come around. But basically, it's a way.
Whether or not things are falling apart at home.
That's right. At our house, it can be falling apart. I'm still leaving, so they just have to figure it out.
He might need you to come back home sooner, maybe? No? He knows. Forget.
He's learned to accept this time as my sacred time.
I got you. So you let it follow its natural course. If it ends at 10, if it ends at 10:30, you're going to let it happen.
That's right.
And it sounds like you're getting people here to support their journey.
That's right. Really, we invite people to come and connect with other people, learn about where they're going in their business, kind of like what Leading Local does. But really, we kind of hear how can we help them get to the next space. And I think one of our strengths is that we're really creative, and so we like to say, okay, we heard you say this, and this is where your passion is. How can we make that sustainable and get to a point where you're doing what you love to do, because we want everybody to love what they're doing.
Do you remember anyone that you've taken on that journey that you can point back to and just saw that light bulb moment for him?
Absolutely. One of Christie's cousins, once removed, she has a house cleaning service, and when she started coming here, she hadn't really started anything, but she wanted to have a business of her own, and we helped her figure out, what is it that she would see herself doing and how to actually grow that in a way that will become profitable and help her specialize, because when you're getting started, you just have an idea, to actually put that into motion and then to not go all over the place. We help narrow it in on target people to work with, and then we've watched her develop that and it grow. It's actually last week, it's growing faster than she can even handle, and now she's pregnant, so we're working through how to leverage her time so that her business can continue to grow in a way that's not going to be at the expense of her and her health.
That is so cool. Is that exciting for you to watch other people be successful, Christy?
Oh, of course, because it's a lot more.
Dumb question, bro.
No. I mean, it's always fun to watch people take on themselves and bust through their barriers and their blocks, and to see them shine and really grow. And so it's great to watch, especially if you've been a part of that, to see what you've done and see how you can help connect them more and get them just really to their full potential. So, and especially with my cousin, it was amazing to watch her go from...
Once removed.
Yes, once removed, sorry. Just to watch her grow, because she had never owned a business. She didn't know where she was going, and started bringing her into the world of networking, getting to know people, and then how to grow her business. And she started joining us on the Saturday mornings, and we watched her go from being just her to having an employee to growing her business beyond what she expected. And now, as Jen said, now she's pregnant, and now wondering how she could keep the growth and keep her clients and still.
Then there's that whole set of skills you have to learn to delegate and give up the reins and allow people to take control, and that's a whole different other set of stuff, right?
Oh, yes.
Skills.
Yes, a whole different set of skills, but she has a great head on her shoulders.
What's her name? We're talking about her and she and pregnant and once removed. What's her name, and how can folks get a hold of her?
So my cousin's name is Raylan Shaw, and her business is Lula Ray's Cleaning Service.
That is a great name, Lula Ray's Cleaning. Does she have a southern accent?
Actually, not really. Kind of a little bit, depending.
Depending on who she's talking to.
And she has a feather duster and an apron she wears. It looks a lot like her logo. It's adorable.
But it's not the French maid. Not the French maid.
Oh, right. I didn't put that in my head. Didn't happen. Pregnant French maid. No, I'm just kidding. Forget that. I'll edit that out. No, I won't. But anyway.
And she does all natural cleaning products, which is great, especially since she is pregnant, so she's not taking in all those fumes.
No ammonia and bleach and all that good stuff.
Correct. So, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm not sure if I asked you now, how do folks get a hold of you?
Same thing.
You guys are attached at the hip. And
well, no, you're sitting in between us right now. So
I'm a little scared.
Just watch how you might get sucked into our world.
I can feel the pull.
We do have a strong gravitational pull, I guess.
One more thing.
You can.
I do spend a good bit on social media, so if they cannot come out on a Saturday, Jen Roche, Roche Starks, like me or friend me on Facebook, and we'll get connected. And I love to be able to leverage my time at home and be able to still connect with people when I can't be out. Great.
And can guys show up too, like me, like middle-aged guys? Can they show up on Saturday mornings too? Or is it an exclusive?
We love it when men show up and they come around our table, and sometimes they get hooked. We've got a realtor friend, Steve, who comes and he likes to hang out with us, and we get to support him, and he brings something different to the table for sure.
Great. And I love the fact that you guys are using creativity. You're working it in with your lives. I'm sure you're great mothers. I'll ask your husbands about how well you're doing in the wife category, but I think it's exciting to be around folks that really love the community. They love helping folks, and they're doing great things in the community. I really want to thank you both for being on Marietta Stories podcast.
Thank you so much. It was great being here.
Okay, it's your turn to say thank you, Jen.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. This has been great.